start with the broadcast section with no embargo, followed by an embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. tonight. No live tweeting during the broadcast section, please, and use the microphone provided. Michael.
How you doing, Ange? Right?
Good, Mark. Yeah.
Just get the team news pretty positive, is it?
So I guess internationals all came back okay. Biss is the only one that's obviously got an issue. It's not serious, but he's getting treatment today. We'll see if he can train tomorrow and make a decision there. Out of the other guys, Mickey van der Ven's all good. He's trained pretty fully through the international break, and Dom, back half of this week, sort of joined with the first team, trained today. So again, we've got training tomorrow. If they get through all right, I guess we'll be available. Richie, Will Lancashire are the only two that other two that are in rehab.
You addressed it earlier in the summer, but Rodrigo Bentancur has now been charged by the FA. Potential hefty ban. Can I just get your reaction to the charge, please?
Yeah, not I guess unexpected from our perspective. We kind of knew that it's something that the league would look at, and it's kind of, we need to let the process sort of play out now, and Rodrigo's well aware of the ramifications of any outcome from the panel, but we'll just wait and see what they come out with.
Special game Sunday. I was listening to you a few weeks ago talking about potential new cycles here, and Mikel Arteta probably went through a similar one. Do you see similarities with what he's building there to what you're trying to do at Tottenham Hotspur?
It's hard to say, because I guess every sort of situation is kind of unique in itself, because they're different clubs and I guess different different environments. But I've said before, there's obviously a way to sort of build a team and a club and sort of go in a certain direction, and that always for the most part takes time. It's about finding the right people in the key positions, and all those things are club decisions, and as you go along, I guess clubs decide whether they want to continue down that road or not. The results aren't always there immediately, which is not surprising in this league, but I think for the most part, clubs that have sort of stuck to a certain direction because they believe they're heading in the right way, eventually sort of get to a place where their team is competitive for a sustained period of time.
They're considered Manchester City's main title challengers, but I know you're ultra ambitious as well, and there's a lot of, between the clubs, who finishes above who. Do you think this current squad you've got now is capable of challenging Arsenal this season?
Well, not specifically Arsenal, but we want to be a club that can challenge everyone. So, that's what we're trying to aim to become. And to do that, you've got to perform at a certain level on a consistent basis. You've got to have a squad strong enough to do that, to withstand the challenges that inevitably come during the course of a season. But we've started the season fairly solidly from a performance perspective. Obviously, the results haven't reflected that, but I think we're in a good place to really, push on from last year and improve in all areas of our game. And if we do that, we got close to challenging last year. There's no reason why we can't this year.
Thanks, good.
Thanks, mate.
Alex.
Ange,
Hey.
after what you've experienced in this huge fixture so far in your time here, how would you try and sum up the rivalry in North London?
I guess everyone, every sort of derby involves a bit different. Obviously, this one, you can tell that it's fairly intense between the two clubs. Obviously, geographically, sort of situated in the same part of town. They're trying to defend the same turf, and there's always a little bit of an edge. I thought both games last year were, very entertaining. Thought we played well at their place and really matched it with them, and could have even won them today. Here, we kind of at our place, we got blown away in the first half, sort of tried to make game of it in the second half, so plenty of goals and exciting, and we know what it means to our supporters and what it means to the club. But like I said, for us, what's really important is we've got to go out there and perform. We've got to play our football, play well, because irrespective of the rivalry, they're a top side, so you need to do that.
What kind of impact could a win have on the rest of Tottenham's season?
Look, hard to say. I've never felt like there's an easy way to success. I don't think one thing determines, or can change a trajectory to a great effect. But it helps because it's not just a win in a big game, in a derby, but it's a win against one of the top sides. So that gives you, I guess, more belief and confidence, and potentially that could sort of inject some real momentum into our season. But I've never been one to think that just a win on the weekend is enough for us to say that we're on the right course, and alternatively, if things don't go our way, that somehow we need to change course.
They will be without some big players, but what is it about this Arsenal side that makes them so hard to play against?
Yeah, I think consistency in approach and mentality. I think you've seen them in the last 2 years, in particular, that they've just had a real relentlessness about them. They haven't had to change their team too much. They've been, there's a solid core there that have sort of carried them through the last 2 years, and I think that gives you belief over time. So I think in every game they feel like they can win. I think they have this confidence in themselves now that they can challenge over a course of a Premier League season, which I think that more than anything else allows you to kind of build momentum season to season, where you can do it over a whole course of a season. They have the last 2 years. Their form over the last 2 years in totality has been outstanding. They're going to be a tough nut to crack, but a great opportunity for us to do that. Thank you.
Ange, how are you?
I'm good, mate.
Be it in Scotland when you were involved in the big derby up there, or this derby here, how do you manage the expectations of the fans while wanting to tell them, yeah, we're going to go out there and on the front foot and we want to win this game and do this, that, and the other? But how do you also, in a derby match, have to manage the expectations, or don't you?
Well, I don't think I ever have, and I'd hate to think that I went into any game trying to kind of get people to manage expectations, because ultimately, what's the point of doing what we do? You go into every game hoping to conquer and win and play well and do all the things that we love about the game. So, I don't think you should walk into the stadium, fearing anything or having trepidation about anything, or, scared to dream or hope that, you can be successful. So I've never done that in the past, and I wouldn't do that because it's not the way I kind of coach or live my life. It's not the mindset I have. I think every game you have is an opportunity to do something special, and that's the way you should approach it.
These are special games. It's come very early in the season. That's not down to you, it's down to the fixture computer. But in a way, would you prefer to be more up and running and have maybe 10 or 15 games behind you before the first of these derby matches?
No, not really. I think if you're not ready, the league started, it's you don't start a race and then think you're going to start sprinting after 10 metres. You've got to go from the start, mate. You've got to be ready, and we were ready at the start of the season, and whenever the games come along, and you've got to be ready for it. So we're 3 games into a season. Obviously the international break kind of puts a pause on things, but no, whenever it comes we need to be ready, and we will be.
Final one on Bentancur, if I may. Firstly, how are things in the dressing room between him and Heung-min Son? And secondly, how do you tell footballers that, in the real world you can't behave like this, and therefore your behaviour, your discipline within, while you're wearing the club badge or even while you're under the employment of the club, has to be absolutely top notch? Because we saw how upset and angry you were a couple of weeks ago with Ian Bissouma.
In terms of Sonny and Rodri, I think they had their kind of discussion about the whole incident. I think both players understand and respect each other's position, and Rodri's already apologised for what he said, and Sonny has accepted that and accepted the fact that one of his teammates and a person he's close to has made a mistake. Beyond that, I don't know what you mean by the real world. We all live in the same world, whether you're a footballer or you're anyone down the street. We all live in the same world, and we all kind of understand the ramifications of our actions, irrespective of who we represent. Ultimately, we represent ourselves as people, and you're trying along the way. As human beings, we try and do the right thing all the time, but it doesn't always happen. We all make mistakes, and I've said before that, for me, it's not just about punishment. It's the opportunity to, for people to atone, to learn, Because if we're talking about having a society that's kind of understanding and tolerant of everything, we also must show that to people who make mistakes, as Rodri has made this in this time. We kind of know him very well, a lot better than most, because we spend every day with him and we understand the kind of person he is, and we understand that even though he's a great guy and a fantastic teammate, he's made a big error this time, and he's got to take the punishment, but also we need to make sure that we give him the opportunity to atone for it and learn from it, and hopefully others learn from it as well.
Okay, we'll finish this section with George, please.
Hi, Ange. You've had 3 good performances this season, but the results haven't always married up. I mean, how kind of close do you feel like the team are to clicking and, I guess, putting in a real 90-minute performance consistently?
Yeah, look, again, it's hard to say, but I just feel, I've always felt that if you're consistent in those sort of underlying things we're looking for in our game, that the results do come sooner rather than later, and we just got to stay really disciplined and consistent in our approach from our football, because I think our football has been really good in all 3 games. We've dominated all 3 games. We've limited the opposition to very little and created a lot for ourselves. We've played in the manner we've wanted to, but the results haven't come. But if we maintain that over 38 games, I think we'll be in a really good position. But it doesn't guarantee it. You can't just sort of expect it to happen or try and pick a moment when it's going to happen. You've just got to keep at it. Like I said, stay really focused on the important elements of our game, and the results will follow.
And it feels like a while ago now, but you had to select the Europa League squad, the 23-man squad. Jed Spence was left out. I mean, how difficult a decision was that, and how has he kind of taken that news?
Yeah, look, I'm disappointed Ali's not here because this was his baby. But yeah, look, it was always going to be a difficult decision, obviously, with the makeup of our squad currently and kind of the lack of sort of club-trained players. We're always going to have to leave somebody out. And Jed was the unfortunate one. But at the same time, Jed's already played in the Premier League, and if you asked him at the start of the year where he sees himself, I think the fact that he's part of our squad and will obviously play a huge part in our year because he has already. I don't think he should take too much disappointment. Obviously, everyone wants to play, but in the end, it was about team balance for us, and we just feel that with the squad we've got, we've got some cover on the right side. We've got some players who can cover on the left side. So. I always tend to go for more attacking players in those kind of scenarios, and so Jed misses out. But as I said, he's already played in a couple of games in the Premier League. There'll be plenty of football for him if he keeps going like he is.
Yeah, and just with this rivalry, obviously you've experienced the 2 matches last year. I kind of wondered, did you learn more in those 2 matches, or maybe more in that Man City game back in May, when obviously there was conflicting emotions with the fan base?
No, look, I don't think I learnt anything that I didn't already know. I understand the rivalry. I understand, the passion that exists in terms of these games. I totally understand that. The Man City game, I'll have to win, mate.
To the club about how special it is, but for a wider audience, how are you feeling now the dust has settled on the announcement?
Well, I'm really happy, really excitement. I think it shows the alignment between the club and myself and the coaching staff, that we are in this journey together, that we enjoy working together, that we have much higher ambitions, that we want to fulfill them. So that's the way that I look at it, and as I said, really, really pleased and grateful as well.
I think it was this week, 13 years ago, you made your debut as a player for Arsenal. So in terms of off the pitch,
still look the same though.
You've aged very well,
yeah.
But it's been a lucky 13 because I guess you wouldn't want to be anywhere else at the moment.
No, I couldn't think about a better place to be, to develop my career as a player, to experience such an amazing football club, the people that I met, the experiences that I had, and now as a manager, that has been something fun, beyond and better than what I ever dreamed about, probably.
We talked about lucky 13 there in terms of you've got a new deal, but unlucky 13, I guess, in terms of the news this week regarding Martin. What can you tell us about his injury?
We need some more tests, so let's see what happens in the next day or so, this afternoon probably, and see what happens, what is the extent of the injury, and and how quickly we can get him back. He's super positive about everything. We know Martin, he wants to be there every single day, but we have to wait and see.
I know there's probably swelling, so it's impossible for you to give a proper prognosis, but having seen him, I'm sure you have seen him, is he hopeful that it might not be as bad as potentially you first thought?
I leave that to the doctor, but yeah, his will, there's no question about that. He wants to be present in every game, and obviously a big game like this one, but we need to make sure that we know first of all how good he can be or not.
But just to clarify, and I know we can't read too much into it because of the swelling, but you're not ruling him out at this stage?
Players with 48 hours are always available, but let's see what happens.
And obviously other injury concerns as well. How's Mourinho coming on?
Better. It's a slow process because it's a bone and it takes a while to heal. He's progressing well. He's already doing some stuff. He's working extremely hard. We're using this time as well to make sure that he understands a lot of things that he has a lot of questions about. And when he's back, he's ready to go and impact the team.
Before the next international break, potentially? Or?
We don't know. Honestly, it's very difficult to understand the healing of the bone. I think the moment he has a lot of symptoms, you can speed it up very quickly because he hasn't lost anything else. But we have to wait and see.
Better news, Gabriel Jesus is out there with the rest of the players?
Gabi was out. He's got another session tomorrow. If everything goes well, he will be ready to be selected in the squad, which is great news for us.
And I think I've not mentioned Fiore yet.
Yeah.
Any news on him?
Yeah, it's another one that we have to wait another day or so, yeah.
All right. And what about Raheem? Obviously, he's had a chance to train with you a little while now. Would it be too early to give him a start on this?
He looks great. First of all, because he's got a big smile on his face, a lot of energy, he's at it, and he wants to prove a point. And when someone's got that in his belly, you sense it straight away. And obviously, I don't need to discover anything about his quality and what he can bring to the team.
So that's a yes then. And just a final thought, for the first time ever, Arsenal won't be wearing red and white in a North London derby. I know it's nothing to do with the club, nothing to do with Spurs, but do you think that matters?
Well, it's not ideal. We wanted to play with our home kit and our colours, but it's not our decision, and we will adapt. We did it against Villa, we won, so hopefully you're going to bring very good luck as well.
Thank you. George, big thing. Mikel, just on Raheem, when you say he wants to prove the point, what's he been like in these last 2 weeks, and basically what's just going through his head about what he wants to achieve with you at Arsenal?
Well, what I see is hunger. He's a player that wants to play every minute of every game. When it's not the case, he's not happy. He loves football. He's what he likes doing every single day, and I see that. And his commitment, the level of energy that he's bringing to the team, and the quality is a big boost. You can feel it on the players as well. When he's walking through the door, we are better with him, and he's going to make us better.
He had a great run of goal scoring at Man City when you was there. Every season it seemed to go up. Can you both unlock that again, and how do you see him play in your team? Because he had a knack of being in the right place at the right time with his goal scoring.
And he has this ability, and obviously the credit to that is his and the player that he's got around him. And you need that when you're one of the front players, certainly. He has that intuition, that will, and the ability to do that, and I'm sure he's going to impact the team.
Just going back to your contract, when you first joined Arsenal, it was a very different club to the one now. So just how is it evolving in the way you want it to, and what's next for Arsenal? You need to make the next step in winning major trophies.
Well, in the way that I think we all wanted, because we wanted a very different club, and we are in the right direction. We have made some huge steps, and we have a lot still to make. And you sense that hunger from ownership to the board to all the players and staff here, and this is the aim and the objective.
And is there any club or country you would have left Arsenal for? Were you so settled and just staying here?
This is the emotional attachment that I have, that my family has, my kids have, the experience that I have, and the involvement with the people is too strong.
It does look, going into this weekend, regardless of what happens with Arsenal, that you are going to be relatively short on numbers in midfield, and it's obviously 3 massive games coming up. It does seem that Ethan's got more of an important role in the squad. I just wondered, would you have any issues throwing him into a big game? Because you've spoken in the past about not overexposing young players and throwing them in at the right time?
Yeah, well, we have to adapt to that. Through the season, we're going to have this kind of situation. It happened very early since the second game, because when you look at the bench that we had against Brighton, is very different to the one that probably we all expected. Is the situation that we have. We have to face it, use opportunities. The young kids have given us a lot of hope and a lot of right reasons as well to count on them. And if we need to, we will do it for sure.
From the Premier League?
Mikel,
Hi.
congratulations on the contract extension.
Thank you.
You had a chance to participate in this game as a player, as a manager. This is one of the greatest rivalries in English football. What's your best positive memory as a player or manager?
Probably afterwards, especially when you win at home and you celebrate with your supporters and you know how it means. There is something special. We have so many huge Arsenal supporters since the day that they were born, and looking at that stuff, and we have some good examples around the first team as well. They come in after the game and the emotion and what it means for them. It's a privilege to have the power to contribute to someone, making someone really happy and a special day for him.
I want to ask you about the Spurs manager, Ange Postecoglou. I won't use the word admire, but how much respect have you got for him from the moment he got to Spurs? You could really see the football philosophy.
No, I admire him. I respect him. I think he's been an inspirational coach as well in my career, because he's done things in his own way in various contexts, in various countries, you know. And it has a very unique way of thinking about the game and his philosophy, and I love it, and he stands by it, and I think as well he represents himself and the club in a really good way.
A question about Raheem Sterling, please. It's been nearly 5 years since you worked with him at Man City. How much do you think he changed and evolved as a player since this time, and how do you think strong his desire and hunger to be successful now at Arsenal?
Yeah, a lot. Obviously, in his personal life, a lot of things have changed since the moment that we were together. The player, I was really surprised. The first call that I had with him, I knew straight away after 10 seconds, we have to bring him, because he really wanted it, you know, and that was my only question mark, you know, what is he at, what stage is he at in his career. After 10 seconds, I knew already before the next questions, we need him here.
Hi Mikel, hope you're well. Going back to your new contract, when you look at what Arsene Wenger built here at Arsenal during his time at the club, when you look at the other great managers that have managed in the Premier League, the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep, Mourinho, do you feel like you can build a legacy here like the likes of Arsene Wenger and some of those other managers have built at their respective clubs?
Hopefully, yes, you know, but you're talking about the best in the history of football, certainly in this country, and there is my aim and motivation, my energy is to be my best version of myself, the best coach in the world ever for Arsenal. And this is it, you know, what the club needs, what those players need, what we need as a team to keep developing and achieve what we want. And that's the only objective.
For all those Arsenal fans that are listening to this and are excited about your new contract, what's your message to them about what the next few years could offer for the club?
Thank you. That's what I would say. Thank you for the gratitude, for the time we have spent, for the trust, for the confidence that they've showed, and hopefully that can continue. And we are here to make people happy and enjoy their passion, which is to love and follow a football club. And we are very responsible to try to achieve that for them.
And lastly, on Kai Havertz, he ended last season in brilliant form. He started this year really well. How pleased have you been by the way he's adapted to that role up front and the way he's playing at the minute?
Yeah, he's been great. Obviously, it was a journey till that point that we navigated together, but nobody doubted about his quality and he can bring. And especially, I think the success comes because of his character and his personality and how he approaches every game, every situation, facing it and going for it. So it's a joy to have him.
That's great. That's this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, we've only got a couple more in the live section. We'll go to Jordan from the Athletic.
Okay, just with the injuries we've got just now, obviously let Eddie, Emile, Reece go out on loan or leave the club this summer. Are you still happy with the size of the squad that you've got and the depth that you've gone with this season?
Yes, it can be bigger, yes, but as well we have certain limitations that we know about. We have to do certain things, certain transactions, and as well because certain players, you know, they have our time with us and they needed a new challenge in their career. We have signed a a few players. It's been a bit different to the previous years, but I'm really happy with the quality and the squad. But there are certain things that we cannot control, you know, and what happened in the last 2 weeks is extremely unlucky. We have to face it, but hopefully during the season will be very different.
It's a really tough period come up early in the season. You know, 5 of the next 8 games are against the top 8 from last season. I guess how do you approach that, where a lot of people are saying this is already make or break for Arsenal with the injuries? You know, the title could be out of the hands already by October, November. How do you try and flip that if you're going into
day by day, guys? It's if we look where we're going to be at the end of May and the amount of games that we have to play and the level and the challenges ahead, we cannot think like this. You know, we're gonna run out of oxygen. You know, I want to have the energy, the enthusiasm for the next day, the next game, and prepare that in the best possible way, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to go to Spurs with an unbelievable energy and believe that we're going to go there to be ourselves and try to win the game.
And finally in the live section to James from ESPN.
Mikel, near the end of last season, Tottenham played City, and there were a lot of Spurs fans who wanted their own team to lose that game because it would mean that Arsenal wouldn't win the league. Ange Postecoglou was really kind of surprised by that at the time. You must have watched that game. What did you make of it?
I think I always have the faith, and I know Ange a little bit that his team played to try to win the game. They had some big, huge chances that any other day would be very different, and no question, no doubt about that at all.
No, but I'm talking about the fans, though. Just the extent of the rivalry. Does it kind of underline?
I don't know which fans, you know, and how many of those. I don't know. Everybody has his own thoughts, and I can speak by myself, and